in national development. When I got the invitation, I wondered what the new department was seeking to achieve, but now I know it's National Women's Week from the 20th of November to the 26th of November. And they're celebrating women in the Bahamas, seeking to inspire women, while celebrating the many instances of progress women have attained in the Bahamas. National Women's Week reminds us that there is still work to be done for the advancement of women, including efforts towards the elimination of gender-based violence, further empowering women and girls and facilitating their access to resources and opportunities across sectors.
It is so wonderful to be in the University of the Bahamas. It certainly has special meaning for me, as I remember this room quite well. Of course, it didn't look anything like this in my day, but it is a wonderful change over these many years. It is my pleasure to welcome you this evening to this interactive dialogue held jointly by the Department of Gender and Family Affairs within the Ministry of Social Services and Community Development and the University of the Bahamas. This dialogue is one of a number of activities planned for National Women's Week, which we celebrate this week from the 28th to the 26th of November. From the moment women first exercised the right to vote equally with men on November 26, 1962, they paved the way for a new, more inclusive and independent Bahamas. This is what this week is about. Remembering the positive and far-reaching impact of collective action and looking forward to ensure that women and men continue to work together to build a stronger and more equitable Bahamas. This message is reiterated in the theme for this evening's interactive dialogue, promoting women as equal partners with men in national development, which is also the theme for National Women's Week. Promoting women as equal partners with men stresses the integral nature of inclusiveness and partnership in building a nation.
And as we speak to women, to mothers, to single mothers, to women just starting out, to young girls, is a clear sense of the things that they are looking for. And based on those discussions, you hear discussions on things ranging from governance, good government, law and order, crime and violence which affects people, participation at high levels, participation in the job market. You hear things ranging from education, thinking about the education that they want to have for themselves and for their families, healthcare, these core issues you see. When it comes to the environment, equally so as things like housing, how to get my kids back and forth from school, transportation, looking at infrastructure, and then of course what we're talking about now more and more, the whole issue of the natural environment with hurricanes and how to become more prepared. And then the economy, of course, issues of the job market, issues of how taxation affects women and men differently, issues of the new jobs as we move into new types of occupations, things that are involving things like science and technology. Where do I fit in those things? So you're seeing a clear understanding of the issues that impact women, coming from women, and these things help us to form the National Development Plans.
In the Bahamas, Dr. Curry, women voted against themselves. She says women really know what they want. Wouldn't you say that the greatest setback to women in the Bahamas are women themselves?
think we need to look at this through the lens of history, if you don't mind. In 1962, you would know that the PLP won the popular vote and lost the election. You'll know that November 26, 1962 was the first time that women voted in the Bahamas. But if you unravel what was going on in 1962, there's a lesson for us in 2016. Listen to this. I went through and combed the daily newspapers in 1962 when I was doing some research for a paper that Marion and I presented in 2012. And what I discovered was there was a great deal of pressure, to put it mildly, by men in their homes who literally told their wives that if you vote against the UBP, don't come home. Don't come home. The kind of abuse and the fear mongering that you had perpetuated by men at that time led many women not to vote progressively. And what I'm saying is that in 2016, there are a lot of women, we're talking about the referendum now, there are a lot of women who did not align with those progressive goals because a lot of them were still afraid of certain things, afraid to be progressive, afraid of what might happen, afraid of their church pastor, okay, telling them that you can't vote this way. And so a lot of times you don't see the allegiance of women, whether black or white, together as a bloc because of these other interest groups that are spreading fear and hate amongst our general population.
The same way we treat women in this country is really the same way we treat youth in this country. And that's why I'm so excited to be here. Because you have a seat at the table, but they don't necessarily have a voice at the table. And in other words, if you remember a couple of months ago, and this is when I recognized that whole misogyny in the country was so real, there was a woman who was trying to achieve a particular position. And the discussion by most women, and it wasn't this generation of women, the millennials, it wasn't the 30-somethings, it was a particular generation who said, she needs to know her place. And I think it's very, very unfortunate because there were some women in yesteryear that fought for the right to vote. But I have to say, and I say this all the time, I said it to the gender-based discussion that, you know, you have a point. I'm not sure if the point is that they're not progressive, but women cannot be afraid. In other words, some people took a risk. Some women took a risk to get that right to vote. And for some reason, some women in our country have not understood the fact that you have to do the same thing, and that is fight.
I want to quote the words of Dame Doris when she approached members of Parliament about our right to vote. And she said, we women press this demand and ask such enactment on the basis not of what is right, but is right for our country. We're talking here about national development and partnership.
Yes.
Certainly, we know what is right. And you talk about women voting against it. But it's conversations like this that need to take place and continue to take place so we can understand what access means and what enfranchisement means. In the most recent discussions, what happens in your household, Mr. Jones? That's your particular household. But what is right for our country? What is national development for our country? What we should all have access to, every citizen? That's something we all have to subscribe to.